this is one of the most splendid pieces in the entire collection. It's about datable to about 1190 and is of the most exquisite quality, and it's one of the earlier pieces. Like so many of the Limoges pieces, and unlike the casket that we were looking at, this is a fragment from a larger ensemble. Clearly it's the figure of the crucified Christ, but it's only the front face. It's a plaque that would have been set on a wooden core, and the back would have had a figure of Christ in majesty at the centre of the cross in a mandorla with figures of saints at the side. This one has a separate figure of bust of St. John the Evangelist, which originally would have been attached like this, and there would have been a figure of the Virgin on there, probably angels at the top, and a figure of St. Peter at the bottom. There's an absolutely complete cross front of similar style from the same workshop in Cleveland, in the Cleveland Museum of Art now, which shows exactly how this would originally have looked, rather larger. But this must have been a massive processional cross that would have been on a great staff, and extremely handsome. One can see now how slender it is, and that this would have been attached to the wooden core, and a second piece, as I said, attached to the back. When you look at it very closely, you can see how extraordinarily detailed the work on what are called the reserved areas i.e. the unenamelled areas. There's tiny little punching that goes on all the ribs, and on the hair of Christ it's been picked out with tiny little punches, little dots throughout, enlivening the surface of the hair. What's so distinctive about this particular cross and the small group to which it belongs is the use of white enamel, large fields of white enamel on his chest, but here the pink enamel on his face and on the face of St. John there is absolutely distinctive, and connects this and a few other pieces to workshop associated with the great Royal Foundation of Grandmont near Limoges. And they're known as the Grandmont Group. They're generally considered to be the most precious of the late 12th century early Limoges enamels, and really of the finest quality. I talked earlier about how many of these Limoges enamels are fragments from larger ensembles. They might be a single plaque from a crucifixion. They might be a plaque from a châsse or reliquary casket. And this indeed is another plaque separated from its original context. Alas, it's not possible to associate it with any other plaques that come from the casket to which it belonged, which is a shame because it's of such high quality that one would dearly love to find other pieces which were demonstrably from the same ensemble. But looking at it, it's quite clear that it formed the end of a large châsse or casket, rather like the one that we were looking at that's just behind here earlier, the narrow end of the casket. And it shows a saint with a book, probably an evangelist, in a wonderful surround of blue enamel with these wonderful lush foliate blossoms of the highest quality, beautiful enamelling from the late 12th century. This is again one of the most outstanding pieces from about 1185, 1190, so quite early for Limoges. What's remarkable about this piece as well is that it has this porphyry colour, which is the rarest of colours for Limoges enamels, virtually never seen, emphasising the sort of celestial nature of where the saint is. Also, a typical feature of Limoges enamels, although the plaque is virtually flat, and the figure of the apostle is not coloured; it's reserved and punched, which is quite typical of the late 12th century. The head is made separately and applied and punched through. You can see the rivet there on the other side. It's a very fine head indeed. These heads were made by striking into a mould and then attaching to the flat plate, so they could be made in good numbers, but also then modified by the use of a punch and a drill and polished up and gilded. So there is quite a variety often in the head types as well. So that's a fairly typical example. This must have been quite a large chasse, casket. There's a similar one, complete one, in Silos in northern Spain, which shows a figure of the crucifixion and Christ in Majesty on the lid. So it's highly likely that it came from a similar casket of that type. But what sets this one apart from so many others is the beautiful colour of the blue background and if you look carefully, the wonderful variegated colours and tones of the blossoms on each side, which is easily the equal of the best late Romanesque manuscript illuminations you get at places like Winchester and Canterbury, which is famed for the sort of foliate decoration there on the page. And here you've transferred those wonderful blossoms from manuscript illuminations into metal, which was quite a challenge and really only found on the very best pieces.